Hello, and a very warm welcome to week 10 of the CCSFF. My name is Philip Flanschmeer, and thank you for joining us for another week of action in the world's Premier Football League. We're approaching the business end of the season, and there's plenty for all 8 clubs still to play for. A quick look at the league table shows us that Bence's Lane Bastards still lead the pack with a 4-point lead over their nearest chasers, Pasty United. Sitting in third position are Dave Brown's boys, who are comfortably placed ahead of Box Badgers and Jaipur Takeaway. Then we have 3 clubs sharing 6th position, equal on 7 points, Up in Smoke FC, Hardley Athletic FC, and King and Skippers. It may perhaps be worth noting that King and Skippers have a significantly worse goal difference compared to both their closest rivals. We've got some cracking matchups for you this week. Our feature match of the day saw Dave Brown's boys playing host to Bence's Lane Bastards under the watchful eye of our very own Dave Mattingly and Gavin Gooseberry.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Brownabout in Pickwick and this Week 10 clash between CCSFF heavyweights Dave Brown's boys and Bence's Lane Bastards. Dave Brown's boys currently sit in third position in the league, and they lost a little ground on Bence's Lane in Week 9 after drawing with Jaipur Takeaway. This may well be a must-win game for the Brownies, and it's certainly a fixture they'll have had earmarked for some time as a chance to claw back some points in the title race. Joining me, as always, is my co-commentator, Gavin Gooseberry. Hello, Gavin. Are you looking forward to this top-of-the-table fixture today?
Hello, Dave. Hello to everybody at home. Well, if I'm honest, I always feel a bit out of place here in Pickwick. It's full of old buildings and old people. And as you well know, Dave, I am very much a modern man. But today my discomfort is only increased by the circumstances surrounding this fixture. It's unfortunate that a game of this magnitude has been tainted before kick-off by league decisions and the consequent fallout.
Yes, I think we better jump right into the main talking points surrounding the fixture and explain how things have developed over the last week. The controversy began in Week 9 when Bence's Lane Bastards hosted their local rivals Up in Smoke FC. In the first half of that match, the Bastards' passionate manager Darren Shipley actually entered the field of play and interfered with an opposition player by grabbing the shirt of Up in Smoke's captain Henry Conrad. At the time, the referee for the match, Ian Holden, didn't see the incident and took no action against Shipley. A few days after that match, Dave Brown's boys chairman Dave Brown issued a statement to say that he had contacted CCSFF league officials calling for Darren Shipley to be issued with a touchline ban. The league then did issue Darren Shipley with a 1-match ban, effective immediately, which enraged the fiery Bastards manager no end. My main man Gavin Gooseberry conducted an exclusive interview with Darren Shipley, where he had this to say about the touchline ban and this fixture against Dave Brown's boys.
All right, fire away, Gavin.
Darren, what was your reaction when you heard about the touchline ban?
Well, my initial reaction was complete shock. I thought this was a league of integrity and fairness. But the decision this morning just goes to show that the old farts that sit on the board of this league are as crooked as a barrel of snakes and are willing to dish out completely undeserved sanctions against me and my club if the price is right. To be honest, it's a fucking disgrace. Clearly that cunt Dave Brown has greased the right pockets, and those money-hungry wankstains that run this league were more than happy to do his bidding.
And do you have any evidence to back up those claims?
Come on, you ain't got to be a brain surgeon to connect the dots, have you? I wear my heart on my sleeve each and every time the people's champions step on the field. And that's exactly what I did when we hammered those snivelling pretenders Up in Smoke last weekend. You think the league had anything to say about it after the match? Did they fuck? But then all of a sudden, that fucking Northern Monkey Brown puts out a statement calling for me to be banned from the touchline, and lo and behold, the league does exactly what he wants. You think that shit muncher would have put that statement out if our next match went against them? Dave Brown's boys and all the Pickwick Ponces are shit scared of the Bastards. They know they can't beat us as long as I'm calling the shots, and they've resorted to some despicable tactics. And what's worse is the league has let him have his way.
Have you been in contact with the league since the ban was issued?
Oh, yeah, straight on the blower, as soon as I heard the news. I mean, you've got to understand what this club is nothing without me at the helm. Yeah, we've got quality players and we've got great fans, but what makes us the league leaders and the people's champions is me. If I'm not there to call the shots, then the boys have got no chance of this league. What the CCSFF have done is basically decided that Dave Brown's boys get all 3 points for this match and we get fuck all. Without me, it's not a contest. Those cunts sitting on the league board know it, and that stumpy little science teacher knows it as well. So I contacted the league and I told them that Benton's Lane Bastards will be boycotting the match due to the unfair treatment of me and my club. Do you know what they told me? They said we've got 8 points if we didn't show up. Crazy, isn't it? You try to stand up to corruption and all you get is more of the same. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll hand the league over to Pasty United or any of them motherfuckers the day that Dave Brown can take a piss in an adult urinal. We'll put players on a pitch Sunday and sure enough, Dave Brown's boys can have their 3 little points. But I'll tell you what, there won't be a single Bastards fan paying for a ticket at that shithole to Brown about, and the result won't make the slightest bit of difference in a title race. There's not a chairman in this league with enough money to bribe his way to our title. The CCSFF does not belong to those few wrinkled old bastards sitting on the board. It belongs to the people, and the people's champions are Benton's Lane Bastards.
Thanks for your time, Darren.
Oh, thank you, Gavin, thank you. And thank you to the good people of Caution for all their support. There's one thing I want to ask of you, and that is that you stand with me this weekend. Stand with me against corruption. Stand with me against dishonest chairmen like Dave Brown, who think they can buy themselves a league title. Even you posh bricks in Pickwick, boycott the game. Come down the Oak instead, and your first Sambuca's on me. All right? Go on, the bastards.
Well, a lot to unpack from that short interview, Gavin. Darren Chipley is a manager who's never afraid to say what he thinks, but has he crossed the line, accusing Dave Brown and the CCSFF of corrupt dealings leading to this touchline ban? Yeah, I think he probably has crossed the line, Dave. But Chipley hasn't ever cared about being on the league's good side, and he's not one to bite his tongue. I think it's unfortunate if the league were going to take action against him, that they didn't do it in a more timely manner. They dithered in their response, and it wasn't until Dave Brown made the case for a suspension that they actually issued the touchline ban. Now, I'm not saying Chipley's claims of corruption are true, or even warranted, but I think the league could have handled it better, and the Dazzler's entitled to his opinion. Yes, I suppose so, but there are few brave enough to voice such an opinion in an interview, and I wonder if Chipley may land himself in more hot water with those accusations. He also mentioned in that interview that he wanted to boycott the match, and we'll see from his team selection in a moment that he's opted for the next closest thing. It's an empty dugout for the Benton's Lane Bastards today, and what's more, not a single ticket was sold in the away end for this match. The Bastards are generally well supported on their travels, but this just goes to show the level of influence Chipley exerts over the club's fans. Yeah, and the Royal Oak is bouncing. I'm getting all sorts of calls and texts to get down there. These fuckers know I'm working. And I'm happy, well, let's say I'm content to be here instead. Even if right now it does feel like I'm in a doctor's waiting room, waiting on a rectal examination. Well, will it be a 90-minute rectal exam for the league leaders? Let's take a look at the team sheets with Gavin Gooseberry and then discuss. Thanks, Dave. Well, we'll start with the home team, Dave Brown's boys. Surely the deepest squad in the league. The Brownies manager Matt "the Cat" Sanchez is known as the Tinker Man for his ability to keep rotating players, keeping everyone fresh and still producing results. Today he had one enforced absence to deal with, and that was that of his captain, Richard Robb, who is suspended after picking up a 3rd yellow card of the season in week 9. Because of the versatility of their squad, Dave Brown's boys are perhaps the most difficult team to predict in terms of formation choice from week to week. Today Sanchez goes with a 1-3-1. Sanchez, of course, goes with David Laker in goal. Despite some rather erratic form from him of late, he's the only man for the job between the sticks. He'll be looking to keep his 3rd clean sheet of the season. And Sanchez hands a debut to defender Adrian Ennis, who will play at centre-back. Ennis has been frustrated by his lack of first-team opportunities and reportedly told his manager he would, quote, burn the whole place down and rape everyone's mothers if he didn't get some playing time soon. Sanchez, the great man-manager that he is, knows when to give a player minutes, and he's clearly decided it was Ennis's time. It's a 3-man midfield, crammed with quality. Matty Lai plays on the left side, Craig Mace on the right, and bigger boy Colin Sims comes into the lineup in the centre of midfield. His only appearance for Dave Brown's boys so far has come in the Springfield Cup semi-final, when he played out of position in defence. A chance for Sims to stake his claim for a run in midfield today. And the Brownies' second bigger boy and captain for the day, Stuart Tutty, plays as a centre forward. And now the lineup for the visiting Bences Lane Bastards. Well, Dave, I think you said it all when you called this team selection the next closest thing to a boycott. I have heard rumours that the actual team sheet was also smeared with bodily discharge and included some racial slurs. The team itself reads as so. Derek Sims continues in goal for the Bastards, and for the first time this season he'll face his older brother Colin Sims. Colin is the typical big bully brother, and Derek will be keen to put on a good showing against him today to avoid ridicule at family gatherings. Michael Edmondson makes his second appearance of the season, having featured in another Lamb to the Slaughter team sheet when the Bastards were humiliated in the Springfield Cup quarter-final by Hardley Athletic FC many weeks ago. That day he was abused by Hardley Athletics' Daniel McCabe, and I wouldn't expect Tutty of Brown's boys to treat him any more gently today. It's a two-man midfield of local legend Daniel Powles, who will captain the side today, and debutant Andrew Harper. And two up front, the Duracell bunny Stuart Deacon is paired with Daniel Greenaway, who plays his second match as a Bastard after his transfer from Pasta United. So, no Bush, no Gingell, no Fear, no Hendry, and no chance as far as I can see for this Bastard side. They're coming up against a seriously strong Dave Brown's boys team, albeit with a flimsy defence. There's a glaring imbalance in the midfield in particular, not to mention Tutty being matched up one-on-one with Michael Edmondson. I don't expect the Bastards got a team talk from their manager, but if they did, it surely would have been about damage limitation. You wouldn't be able to tell that from the body language in the warm-ups, mind you. Daniel Powles is proud as can be to be captain in the Bastards today, and the likes of Edmondson and Harper seem delighted just to have a run around on the manicured pitch of the Brownabout. Yeah, it's a top-class playing surface here in Pickwick as always, and also heightened security due to safety concerns. Although there are no Bastards fans in the stadium today, they have been marching through the streets of Corsham this morning, protesting against the touchline ban issued to their manager Darren Chipley, as well as other social issues. There were a number of threatening chants being shouted at this march, and the Wiltshire Constabulary has advised that today's match can go ahead, but only if the Brownabout is equipped with the added security we are seeing today. We're nearly set for kick-off. It'll be Bences Lane Bastards to get the game started. The Brownabout, 3/4 full, exclusively with Dave Brown's boys supporters, sensing weakness and baying for blood, roars in unison as our referee for today, Paul Inskip, blows on his whistle, and we're underway as Greenaway passes it back to Andrew Harper. Mace switches play out to the left side and finds Lai just inside the Bastards' half. Daniel Powles nearly toppled over backwards as he watched that pass float over his head, but he'll have to recover quickly if he's to contain Matthew Lai here. Lai goes venturing down the left flank with Powles in pursuit. Numbers are pouring forward for the Brownies as Lai cuts inside now, and he plays a ball through to Tutty for him to chase ahead of Michael Edmondson of the Bastards. It's a tight angle, but Tutty is going to have a shot from the left side of the area. It's parried by the goalkeeper Derek Sims, but it falls right into the path of his brother Colin, and Colin Sims opens the scoring. A tap-in for the bigger boy, and Dave Brown's boys take the lead within the opening 10 minutes of the match. Yep, this looks and feels like I thought it would. The midfield of the Bastards are getting the run around, and there's no way Michael Edmondson has got them covered at the back. Dave Brown's boys move the ball from one side to the other so easily, and then onto their forward Tutty. He's shot from a difficult angle, it's too hot to handle for Derek Sims, and although he gets his body behind it, he couldn't control where it went from there. His big brother Colin was more than happy to capitalise on the spillage, and now he seems more than happy to humiliate his brother further as he celebrates his goal. He's jumped on the back of his younger brother, brought him to the ground, and he is now pretending to ride him like a rodeo horse. Insult to injury. Yes, that is a bit out of order, but referee Paul Inskip turns a blind eye. 7 minutes played, and it's Dave Brown's boys 1, Bences Lane Bastards 0. Attention please. Could Mr. Mike Hunt please report to the information centre in the news stand?
Mike Hunt to the information centre in the north stand. Thank you.
Sims to Mace. Back to Colin Sims. And now the Scotsman looks to spread the play out to the left side. And he's looking for the run of Lai with that crossfield ball. Lai controls it, and he has Powles once again standing between him and goal. A few step-overs from Lai as he approaches Powles. Oh, now he flicks it over the head of the defender. Tremendous skill from Lai. Powles is bamboozled. But Brownie's bigger boys, Tutty and Colin Sims, are calling for it in the centre. Oh, but rather than charging towards the area, Lai seems to want to toy with Powles. Lai's dragging the ball backwards away from Powles as if he were teasing a kitten with a ribbon. Fucking hell. I can see Powlesy's trying his hardest, but this is embarrassing. Lai now decides he's proved his point, and he glides past Powles towards the byline. Tutty is fading to the far post. It's a low cross to the near post towards Colin Sims. Oh, the side-footed finish from Colin Sims makes it 2-0 to the home team. The Brownabout rejoices as, for a second time today, the elder Sims brother Colin beats his younger brother to score and double the Brown boys' advantage. Oh dear, oh dear. Shambolic from the bastards. Lai has taken the piss on the left wing already, and Powles was powerless to stop him there. He had all the time in the world to put a cross in, and he found Colin Sims to apply the finish. Edmondson was thoroughly overwhelmed in the centre and couldn't track both Sims and Tutty. A composed finish from Sims, and it's already a long way back for the bastards from here.
Attention please, attention please. Could a Mr. Hugh G. Rection please report to the information centre in the south stand? Mr. Hugh G. Rection to the south stand information centre. Thank you.
And it's a hopeless ball forward from Harper. I think he was trying to find the run of Deacon, but he was way off the mark, and the ball will run through to the Dave Brown's boys goalkeeper, David Laker. Yeah, the front two of the bastards, Deacon and Greenaway, are beginning to get frustrated with the service they're receiving from the midfield. They've had very few touches of the ball in this first half hour, and that's due to the swarming defence of the Brownies. The bastards' midfield is not coping well. Laker will kick from hand in search of Stuart Tutty. Edmondson of the Bastards tries to get a foot in and poke the ball away, but Tutty holds him off easily and is able to bring the ball down about 20 yards inside the Bastards' half. He looks like he wants to take on Edmondson now, but Powles has tracked back and offers extra cover. Tutty decides to hold the ball up instead and wait for support, and it's arriving now in the form of Mace overlapping on the right, and Colin Sims who's making a run up the centre. Tutty is looking right. Oh, that's clever. He sells the dummy pass to Mace and instead flicks it inside to Sims. He's completely opened up the Bastards' defence with that pass. And Sims is through on goal with a chance to complete his hat-trick. Derek Sims is coming off his line. Can he deny his brother this time? He can't! Colin Sims side-foots it past the goalkeeper into the bottom right corner of the goal. And it's a first half hat-trick for Colin Sims. 3-0 to Dave Brown's boys.
Oh, fucking hell. I'm starting to wish I were down the Oak, because this is painful to watch. Route 1 stuff from Dave Brown's boys, and once again, they've opened up the Benson's Lane defence like a can of beans. It was good stuff from Tutty. He controlled the long ball well and drew a lot of defensive attention. Good awareness to know just where Sims was, even though he was looking the opposite direction towards Mace. Lovely little through pass, and once again, Colin Sims rounds off the move with a cool finish. A very distasteful celebration from the elder Sims brother again, though. What is he doing?
I'm not exactly sure. Colin Sims grabbed the ball out of the back of the net after slotting it past his younger brother, and now Colin is motioning towards Derek Sims. Oh, I think he's ordering his brother to kiss the match ball. Well, that is uncalled for. Derek Sims looks reluctant. But under some pressure from his brother and the rest of the opposing players, he has just kissed the match ball. Real low-life bully tactics from Colin Sims there, humiliating his brother further.
Oh, what a knobend. Leave Derek alone.
It looks like the result of this match may be beyond doubt now, and there are still more than 10 minutes to play in the first half. The Bastards captain Daniel Powles is trying to lift his teammates. He at least looks like he still believes his side have a chance, but the scoreline suggests otherwise. Deacon and Greenaway cut frustrated figures as they head back to the centre circle to restart the match once more. Referee Paul Inskip blows his whistle and play is underway once again. Deacon passes it back to Harper, who goes straight back to his centre-back Michael Edmondson. Brown's boys look hungry for more as they pour into the Bastards' half, looking to close down their opponents. Edmondson is flustered by the onrushing Tutty, and he looks to his right, trying to find Daniel Powles. But he sold his captain a little short there, and Lai of Brown's boys breaks up the play. The ball ricochets back to the hat-trick hero Colin Sims, who takes possession about 15 yards inside the Bastards' half. And he's going to play it back to Lai, who's continued up the left side. Powell stopped in his tracks after being beaten to that loose ball, and Lai has a clear run on goal unless Edmondson can get over to that side to challenge him. Lai is lightning quick though, and he's bearing down on goal. He's got Tutty inside of him as he enters the area. Oh, but he doesn't need him! Lai hits a powerful left-footed shot and beats Derek Sims to his right side, and in the blink of an eye, it's 4-0. Dave Brown's boys are in complete cruise control. I'm sorry, Dave, but I don't know what to say at this point. It's men against boys out there. To concede straight from the restart like that is embarrassing. I guess I didn't expect much different when I saw the Bastards team sheet, but I feel like I'm waiting for the doctor to give me the all clear, and he might not even be past the knuckle yet. If you're just tuning in, expecting to see Birdwatch with Gareth Unwin, I should inform you that this week's episode will start an hour later than the regularly scheduled time because of the long suspension of play here at the Brownabout in the second half. Rather alarmingly, the venue received a bomb threat after 70 minutes of play, and the entire stadium had to be evacuated. Myself and my co-commentator Gavin Gooseberry, as well as the many Browns boys fans in attendance, waited in the car park for over 40 minutes before we were given the all-clear to re-enter the stadium and for the match to restart. A very unfortunate incident, but thankfully it looks like we will be able to complete this Week 10 league fixture. It's with regret, though, that I must pass on apologies on behalf of my colleague Gavin Gooseberry. He and I were together in the car park as we waited for the all-clear from the Wiltshire Constabulary, but we were separated in the crowds, and he hasn't managed to find his way back into the commentary box for the final 20 minutes of this match. It looks like we're nearly ready to get the match back underway. It has to be said, a great number of the fans have failed to retake their seats after that long delay, and the stadium is significantly more empty than it was before the alarm was sounded. We'll restart the match with an uncontested drop ball for the Bastards, deep in their own half. Referee Paul Inskip drops the ball at the feet of Michael Edmondson, and we're back to business. Edmondson finds his goalkeeper Derek Sims, who controls, and he's going to hoof it long into the midfield. No height or athleticism in the Bastards midfield, so as we've seen all day, the aerial ball is easily won by Dave Brown's boys as Matthew Lai heads the ball to Colin Sims, who quickly moves it on to Craig Mace on the right side. Mace has Andrew Harper for company, and he plays it back inside for the bigger boy Colin Sims, who's advancing into the Bastards' half. Neither Powles or Harper of the Bastards can close the gap on Sims, and forward he goes. Oh, and now he's looking to play a through ball for Tutty, beyond the last man Michael Edmondson. It's a well-weighted pass, and Tutty can easily get to this before Edmondson. Tutty is through on goal, approaching the area. Derek Sims comes rushing out. Tutty shapes the shoot with the left foot. Oh, but he swivels his hips, fakes the shot, and goes around the goalkeeper. He's surely going to score, and he does. The bigger boy gets his name on the score sheet. His 7th league goal of the season. Another example of Brown's boys taking candy from a baby, I'm afraid. Edmondson has been completely unable to deal with Tutty all day, and that finally results in a goal for the Brownies captain. The long break in play only seems to have rejuvenated Dave Brown's boys, and they're back to the clinical form they showed in the first half. It's now Dave Brown's boys 5, Bence's Lane Bastards 0.
And that was how the scoreline remained until full-time. Bence's Lane well and truly bent over and given a good rogering by Dave Brown's boys at the Brownabout. And we haven't seen it yet this season, but of course, as following most Bence's Lane defeats, a large group of their supporters went on an alcohol-fueled rampage of disorder around the town of Corsham. At time of recording, 6 people are reported dead and 19 injured. And for our next match of the day, we travel down to Box Rec, where Box Badgers welcome Kingham's Kippers. Wins have been hard to come by for both teams of late. The Badgers are without a win in their last 3 outings, and the Kippers in Week 9 recorded only their second league win of the season. Both teams would surely be going all out for a victory in this fixture. The team sheets were as so. Kingham's Kippers were unchanged from the side that beat Hartley Athletic FC in Week 9. Tim Parker starts again in goal, still in search of a first clean sheet of the season. Christopher Pearce is the one at the back. The midfield features the Kippers' 2 creative sparks, Luke Mortimer and Craig Fulham, and it's once again a front 2 of Captain Danny Derrick and Dominic Watkins-Snaith. Box Badgers player-manager Nick the Mallard Millward brought about one change after losing away to Pastor United in Week 9. Louis Mackay returns from suspension, and Millward, who has been less than pleased with the recent performances of Avion Jones, decided to make a switch in the midfield. So it was Ben Dilloway in goal, fronted by his captain and manager Nick Millward, who for a second time this season forgot to bring his kit, and the best he was able to dig out of the beggar box was a rather fetching white vest, complete with mud stains, and a black pair of Umbro shorts, which presumably used to belong to a Year 7, as they were extremely tight and high-riding on the Badgers' defensive talisman. The 2 in midfield were the homegrown talents of Louis Mackay and bigger boy Jamie Harrison. The Badgers' second bigger boy, Tim Jeffrey, was once again paired with Matthew Brock up front. Manager Millward spoke in the week of Brock's help in the community, as well as his ferocious endeavour in training, as a reason for starting Brock today, despite him having failed to register a single league goal in 6 appearances this season. After closer investigation, that work in the community was found to be specifically focused on hedge trimming and lawn mowing in manager Millward's own private gardens. But nevertheless, Brock seems to be very much in manager Millward's good graces. So let's take you into the match highlights from Box Rec with our commentators Dave Maddingley and Gavin Gooseberry.
Watkins-Snaith takes a good first touch and now looks to cut infield from that right wing. But Millward is able to close the distance quickly, and he puts in a good challenge to dispossess the Kippers winger and win the ball back for the home team. The Mallard brings the ball forward now and finds Mackay around the centre circle, just inside the Badgers' half. Good first time pass from Mackay to his fellow midfielder Harrison, just inside the Kippers' half.
Yeah, Mackay's looked a little nervous on the ball in these first 20 minutes, and he's generally got rid quick, but that's a good pass, and now a chance for Harrison to look forward.
Harrison with a silky first touch to bring the ball under control, and now he knocks it past Mortimer of the Kippers, and he will retrieve it with Brock and Jeffries ahead of him. Craig Fulham of Kingham's Kippers is chasing back to block the run of his fellow bigger boy, but Harrison is looking to thread it through to Jeffries with Dave Pearce in pursuit of him. Jeffries will get to the ball first, approaching the edge of the area, right of centre. Pearce is kept with the Badgers striker just about, and the 2 are shoulder to shoulder as Jeffries enters the area. He's pushed a little wide, but he shoots! Oh, and he's dragged his effort across the face of the goal. It's out for a goal kick. A warning sign for Kingham's Kippers there, though.
Yes, Dave. As if the Kippers needed a warning. If you give Harrison time in the midfield to pick a pass, he is likely to hurt you. But that was good defensive work from Pearce. He's got his work cut out for him today, dealing with the bigger boy Jeffries. But he's done well there to put the striker under pressure at the crucial moment. And he's made it hard for Jeffries, who will be frustrated to have not hit the target with that attempt.
That's a loose pass from Mackay, who was looking for Matthew Brock, but it's been cut out by Mortimer. Brock was ever so excited to find himself in space, and even more so to see a pass headed in his direction. But it was too good to be true, and it's Mortimer instead who takes control of the ball and advances for Kingham's Kippers. He's confronted by Harrison of the Badgers, but Mortimer finds his midfield partner Fulham in a bit of space just inside the Kippers' half. Mackay tries to make amends for his error by putting in a tackle, but Fulham shrugs off the challenge and now releases Derrick ahead of him, making a run inside from the left flank. Millward of the Badgers is back in defensive position, but he doesn't have much support. Harrison is dropping back to help him, but Watkins-Snaith of the Kippers is ahead of him and looking to join the attack with some urgency. Derrick controls 20 yards inside the Badgers' half, and he might try to go past Millward here. No, he cuts inside onto his right foot and plays a through ball for Watkins-Snaith, who has a run on goal here. Harrison isn't going to catch him. Dilloway advances out, but Watkins-Snaith passes the ball past the goalkeeper and into the bottom right corner of the goal. The deadlock is broken, and it's the away side celebrating.
Watkins-Snaith with his 4th league goal of the season. Great counter-attacking football. There's a real intensity to the midfield of the Kippers today, and that was evident once again, with Mortimer winning the ball back, and then with a good forward ball by Fulham to set Derek on his way. Millward did what he could, but he was outnumbered, and Derek made a good decision to play the ball square to Watkins-Snaith. Dom certainly isn't a natural goal scorer, but he took that pass in stride and was very calm in the finish on this occasion. You could say that goal comes against a run of play, but King and Skippers have been a constant threat on the counter-attack in this opening 35 minutes. And to his own great irritation, the long ball from Millward is sliced out of play inside his own half. The Badgers captain is ferociously berating his striker Matthew Brock, while simultaneously tucking his beggar box vest into his high-cut shorts in great frustration. Things not going the Box Boys' way so far this afternoon, and it's evident in their player-manager's body language. Yeah, you can sense it in the home crowd and all. They're willing their Badgers on, but growing increasingly frustrated with the mistakes they're seeing. Mortimer will take the throw for King and Skippers. He throws it down the line to his captain Danny Derrick, who has Harrison for company. Derrick brings the ball down, and he's going to look to make his way up the left wing towards the byline. Harrison doesn't want Derrick cutting inside on his favoured right foot, and he's happy to let him proceed. Now Harrison does put some pressure on, and Derrick, looking to put a low cross in with his weaker left foot, wins a corner as the ball deflects off of Harrison and out of play. Looks like it'll be Watkins-Snaith to take the corner. King and Skippers, a very tall team with the aerial threats of Derrick and Fulham in the area, along with Dave Pearce, who's come forward from the back. Mortimer has dropped deep to cover for him. Millward is letting each and every one of his teammates know in no uncertain terms where they should be positioned to defend this set piece. Here comes the in-swinging corner from Watkins-Snaith. Pearce gets ahead on it, ahead of Mackay, and it's Derrick! The powerful header from Danny Derrick was past goalkeeper Ben Dillaway before he could react. The flick on at the near post from Pearce, and a towering header from Derrick, and the visitors double their lead. Oh, I seen that coming. The Kippers play some nice football, don't get me wrong, but that right there is what they're best at, getting the big boys forward and putting it in the mixer, and it's worked out nicely for them there. That has got to be infuriating for Millward and the Badgers, though. They gave away possession cheaply, gave away a corner cheaply, and then conceded a second goal cheaply. Yes, and the home fans are making their feelings known. The Kippers are celebrating their captain's goal in the far corner at the car park end, and the ultras in that stand are peppering the away players with projectiles. That's not good to see. Credit to those Kippers players, as they're not letting the bombardment spoil their celebrations. Derrick happily shows the middle finger to the Badgers fanatics in the car park stand, and now begins to drop back to his own half. Oh, I think the council had the best intentions at heart when they put them recycling bins in. It's a pity they've basically been turned into projectile storage containers by the die-hard Badger supporters, and they are not happy with what they're seeing so far today. And anywhere will do for Pearce as he pumps a clearance deep into the Badgers' half. That'll be retrieved by Millward, who controls, turns on the ball, and looks to start another attack. The home team is starting to mount some pressure, and possession has certainly swung in their favour in the last 10 minutes. Millward is screaming at his teammates for a short option, and it's bigger boy Harrison who shows for the ball just inside his own half. Harrison has Fulham snapping at his heels, but it's a lovely turn from Harrison to find some space, and he can now advance over the halfway line. Mortimer of the Kippers looks to halt his progress, but Harrison manages to find Brock dropping into the hole behind Jeffries. It's a first touch return ball from Brock back to Harrison, who ploughs on deep into the Kippers' half. Pearce is caught in two minds as to whether to step up and pressure Harrison or stick with the Badgers' other bigger boy Jeffries. He does now move towards Harrison, but Harrison can get a shot away from the edge of the area. Oh, he scores! The low shot to the right side seemed to go straight through the Kippers goalkeeper Parker, and the Badgers are back in this one, with 15 minutes still to play. Well, a series of defensive errors from the Kippers there, and they're thoroughly punished by the best player in the village, Jamie Harrison. Millward gets a move started, then Harrison makes his way through the Kippers midfield all too easily for my liking. He plays a 1-2 with Matty Brock, and then he lets fly from outside the box. He strikes it firmly, but it's not in the corner, and the keeper should do better there. But of course, Parker is an absolute liability between the sticks, and I'm surprised it's taken until so late in the game for him to be exposed, to be honest. He's a big old lump with the agility of a disabled walrus, and a low hard shot like that one from Harrison is always likely to cause Parker problems. It's a welcome lifeline for the home team, and almost all of the Badgers are quick to rush back to their own half to get the game restarted quickly. Yes, all except Matthew Brock, who's celebrating that goal like it's a winner. He's thumping his chest as he takes a lap of the Mill Lane end. His captain Nick Millward is furiously waving for Brock to take his position in the Badgers' half to get the match restarted, but Brock hasn't noticed. He's enjoying every moment of this. Mortimer tries to play Derek in behind, but he's overhit that, and Millward can come across to sweep this up for Box Badgers. Millward goes back to his goalkeeper, Ben Dillaway, who's pushed up to the edge of his area. Millward wants it back now as he runs across field away from Derek, and he gets it back from Dillaway, and he's got time on the ball to consider his options. He looks long for the target man Jeffries, who will jump for this aerial ball against Pearce, a few yards from the keeper's area. Jeffries wins the header, and he knocks it down to Mackay, who takes possession about 35 yards from goal. Mortimer is quickly on to Mackay, who looks flustered, but he does manage to find a pass to Harrison on the right side. Mortimer follows the ball. Oh, but it's a good first touch from Harrison, knocking it past Mortimer and slipping by him, headed for the byline. Here comes the cross from Harrison. It's over the head of Jeffries at the near post towards the far post where Brock is arriving! 2-2! What a time to score his first league goal of the season! Oh, does he just know it? Yes, Matthew Brock is losing his mind! He runs straight for his captain Nick Millward to celebrate, and there's an awkward moment as Millward goes for a handshake and he gets steamrolled by Brock, who's now hugging his player manager as if he were his long-lost father. A touching moment. Well, sort of. Although Millward doesn't seem to want much to do with it. I think he'd rather get the game restarted quickly and see if they can find a winner. But it is an important goal from an unlikely goal scorer, which is strange to say about a striker. A number of players involved in that move, but for me, Harrison has made that goal possible up that right side. It's not a great pass to him from Mackay, but Harrison does well to get the ball out from under his feet and skip past Mortimer. Then he stands up a lovely cross to the far post where you-know-who, Matty Brock, was arriving to head home the equaliser. All the momentum is with the home side now. It's their time for them to grab a winner. As it turned out, there wasn't time for either team to find a winner, and the points were shared at Boxrec. King and Skippers will perhaps be frustrated to have surrendered a 2-goal lead, but surely overall pleased to have come away with a point against a much-favoured Box Badgers side, who will be kicking themselves that it took them so long to find their stride in this match. They played some excellent football in the final half hour, but were largely ineffective for long spells in the first half, and they didn't start the second half much better. Well, we take you now from the lowlands of Box to the heart of the Corsham Estates and Regis Fields, the home of Up in Smoke FC, who are hosting Jaipur Takeaway. With the two teams separated by only 3 points in the league table, we were sure to witness a competitive affair. The reverse fixture earlier in the season yielded a thrilling 3-3 draw at Grove Road Allotments. The visitors, Jaipur Takeaway, lined up once again in a 1-3-1 formation, with Gareth Unwin tending goal, facing out towards the muscular buttocks of bigger boy Simon Hancock, who played at centre-back. Manager Christian Heron Burgundy has a number of midfielders to choose from, but utilising all of their various talents in a cohesive unit has proved tricky, and wildcards Ratcliffe and Robinson were once again left on the bench for this encounter. And that meant a 7th appearance of the season for Mark Jervis on the left side of midfield, along with hardnut Aaron King playing up the right side, and the outstanding performer in this midfield is of course Michael Bowler, who has 4 goals and 4 assists in the league. And the Booner Boys' top goal scorer Adam Taylor will once again lead the line. He has 6 league goals to his name, putting him 4th in the Golden Boot race, 1 behind their opposition captain Henry Conrad. Up in Smoke FC mirrored their opponent's formation with a 1-3-1 of their own. Jason Paradise played in goal for a second game in a row, meaning Shane Moulton played outfield as a lone centre-back. Josh Babcock returned from suspension to join Simon Waters and Adrian Webb in a 3-man midfield. Babcock and Watters provide robust protection of the back line, while Webb would look to provide that bit of quality in the middle of the park. He has 5 goals and 4 assists in the league so far. And manager McCabe's faith in Aston Kehoe seems to be waning. The up-in-smoke attacker is still without a goal this season, and he was dropped to the bench today, meaning captain Henry Conrad would play as a lone striker. Conrad is 1 yellow card away from suspension, as is their defensive enforcer Shane Moulton. The referee for this match was Howell Evans, and your commentators are once again Dave Mattingly and Gavin Gooseberry.
Well, it's been a very cagey opening to this match. We're only 10 minutes away from half-time, and neither team has managed to create a clear-cut chance so far. With both teams fielding 3 in midfield, the middle of the park has certainly been the main battleground, and there's been little in the way of meaningful possession for either team in the attacking thirds. Paradise pumps the goal kick upfield in search of Conrad, who will jump against Hancock of Jaipur. The up-in-smoke striker manages to knock it down to Webb, but he's immediately surrounded by Bowler and Jervis and forced backwards. Webb finds Babcock just inside his own half. A loose first touch from Babcock gives King a chance to put some pressure on. Babcock is only going backwards, and he plays it to his centre-back Moulton. That's a poor pass. He's sold Moulton short, and Taylor of Jaipur can intercept. He knocks the ball beyond Moulton on the left side, and he could be through on goal now. He's still a long way out, but Moulton is not going to catch the pacey front man of Jaipur. Taylor angles his run in from the left, and he's approaching the edge of the area. The Smokes goalkeeper Paradise comes rushing out and tries to close down the angles. But Taylor knocks it past him, and now the goal is at his mercy. Taylor for Jaipur, takeaway, scores! Adam Taylor with the opening goal for the visitors. A cool finish from the Boona boys' top scorer, but the Smokes manager McCabe will be very disappointed with that. Poor play from Babcock left Moulton very much up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, and he never looked likely to catch Taylor once the striker intercepted and poked the ball past him. Oh dear, oh dear. I give credit to the defensive pressure applied by Jaipur takeaway, especially their midfielders, but from an up-and-spoke perspective, that is a very avoidable goal. Babcock looked flustered from the moment the ball was played in his direction, and his pass back to Moulton never had the legs to reach his teammate. Taylor was alert to the opportunity, and he was ruthless in the finish. Not a lot Paradise could have done there. He had to come off his line, but that left him powerless to stop Taylor taking it around him and slotting home the opener. 35 minutes played, and it's up in Smoke FC 0, Jaipur takeaway 1. Controlled by Moulton, and he plays it forward to Watters on this near side. Watters has King breathing down his neck, but it's a good first touch from Watters, and he's able to find Babcock in the centre circle. Bowler of Jaipur pushes forward to pressure Babcock, but Babcock is able to pick a pass to Webb inside the Jaipur takeaway half. It's a lovely first-time ball from Webb, with the outside of his right boot in behind Hancock up the centre for Conrad to chase. Touch me where it tingles. The up-in-smoke captain, Henry Conrad, is going to get to this ball ahead of Hancock. He's a full sprint as he nears the edge of the area. Unwin looks concerned. The Jaipur keeper is coming off his line now. Conrad squares his body to goal, and he finds the bottom right corner to level the scoreline. A very competent finish from Conrad wraps up a well-worked team move from up in Smoke. Yeah, you said it, Dave. He worked it from back to front with every outfield player involved. A touch of class from Webby to play Conrad in behind, and the captain did the rest. He kept his composure and passed it into the corner, giving Unwin no chance. A crunching tackle in the middle of the park from Watters on Jervis, but the referee Hal Evans saw nothing untoward. Jaipur maintained possession though with Hancock, who quickly finds Bowler just inside the Jaipur half. Bowler has Taylor making a run ahead of him, and Bowler threads a clever ball through the up-in-smoke defence. Moulton's been caught out of position once again here. Babcock is in the vicinity looking to provide cover as Taylor gets to the ball ahead of Moulton. And the Curry Boys' top goal scorer is bundled to ground by a clumsy challenge from Shane Moulton of Up in Smoke. And Moulton could be in trouble here. He had hands all over Taylor there, and a free kick has been awarded to Jaipur takeaway in a dangerous area. But will there be further punishment for Moulton? He protests his innocence, but it was a clear foul. The only question is, was he the last man? It's a terrible challenge, but I don't think he was, Dave. I think Babcock just about got behind Moulton before he makes contact with Taylor. It's close though. And that is indeed how referee Evans has seen it, and he brandishes a yellow card to Shane Moulton. He'll be relieved to have avoided a straight red there, But that is Moulton's third yellow card of the season, which will mean an automatic suspension for week 11 of league play. And Jaipur Takeaway could inflict further damage here, as they have a free kick 5 yards outside the area, just left of centre. One would expect either a thunderbolt from bigger boy Simon Hancock, or perhaps a more finessed effort from Michael Bowler from this range. And it is Bowler who places the ball, as Hancock also measures out a run-up. The up-in-smoke goalkeeper, Jason Paradise, has arranged a 3-man wall of Conrad, Waters and Webb. I fancy Hanky to batter this one, although Michael Bowler does have the ability to get it up and down from this distance. Referee Evans blows his whistle, and it will be Bowler. Oh, and he's hit the outside of the post. A great effort from the stocky midfielder as a whisker away. Most of the wall jump, but crucially, Henry Conrad appeared to duck his head, and it nearly cost his team there. Yeah, cowardly stuff from Conrad. If you're in the wall, you've got to put your body on the line. But ironically, it's often the players that could most use a hit in the face who avoid contact at all costs. It's a good effort from Bowler, and he's unlucky not to score. But if Conrad stands his ground, there's no way he gets that close to scoring. Up in smoke with a good spell of possession here. The ball's played to Babcock just inside the Jaipur half, and he finds Waters on the left side. Waters is met by King of Jaipur Takeaway, and the up-in-smoke midfielder is not blessed with great dribbling ability, but he is able to knock it into a bit of space for Eddie Webb to chase. Great first-time flick from Webb, who got to the ball ahead of Bowler, and he's fed it into the path of Conrad, who has Hancock tracking his run. Conrad gathers the ball close to the left corner of the area. Hancock is isolated at the back, and Conrad enters the area now and knocks it past the bigger boy. Oh, and he goes down! Is that a penalty? Referee Howell Evans blows his whistle, and it is a penalty to Up-in-Smoke FC. Oh no! He's summoning Conrad to him, and in fact, it's going to be a yellow card for Conrad for simulation. I thought he'd given a penalty there. Nah, there are no flies on Mr. Evans. A blatant dive from Conrad, and he gets his just desserts. He could have probably fashioned a shooting chance there, but instead he tried to con the referee, and Evans weren't having none of it. And it gets worse for Conrad, as that is his third yellow card of the season, and like Moulton before him, he will also now be unavailable for week 11 of the league. The crowd don't like it, but I think the referee has made the right decision there. Hancock looks for Bowler in the midfield. Oh, and it's a lovely turn from Bowler to get away from Webb of Up-in-Smoke, and Bowler now finds King, making a run up the right side into Up-in-Smoke territory. King has Waters for company as he carries the ball forward up the flank. He looks to play it infield now, back to Bowler. Oh, but that's a poor ball from King. It's easily intercepted by Babcock, who controls inside his own half and uncharacteristically gets his head up. He's got Conrad making a run up the middle and Webb as a short option. Babcock has time to launch it long towards Conrad, who's going to jump for this ball against Hancock of Jaipur Takeaway. Conrad is able to win the initial header on the edge of the penalty area. This looks dangerous for Jaipur. Hancock sticks with Conrad, who can't quite bring it under control, but he can flick it square to Webb! Oh, you beauty! What a hit, son! What a hit! 2-1 Up-in-Smoke! A tremendous strike from Adrian Webb on the half volley, powered into the left side of the goal for 25 yards out. The home crowd have got ballistic, and it's no less than Up-in-Smoke deserve. They've controlled possession, particularly in this second half, and a spectacular strike from Webb has put them 5 minutes away from claiming all 3 points here at Regis Fields. We're entering the final minute of the 90 now, and since Up-in-Smoke went ahead with that goal from Webb, the visitors, Jaipur Takeaway, have been pressing hard for an equaliser. Up-in-Smoke are pinned back in their own half as that clearance from Moulton only reaches King of Jaipur. Conrad still looks pretty sprightly, and he pressures King, who plays it to his centre-back Simon Hancock, just inside his own half. Hunky Hanky brings it forward and now threads a ball through the midfield to Adam Taylor, who's popped up on the right side, 10 yards outside the area. Moulton of Up-in-Smoke has to go with Taylor. Babcock can cover for him in the area as Taylor controls the ball and immediately looks to get on the front foot. A couple of step-overs and he's beaten Moulton, and Taylor is going to get to the byline now. Not much to aim for, but he pulls it back for Bowler with a right-footed shot, and it's gone in! Paradise beaten at his near post, and it's Michael Bowler with the equaliser for Jaipur Takeaway in the 90th minute!
Would you believe that? Another twist in the tail. It's got to be said though, that is poor from Paradise. We should not be getting beaten like that. Good build-up play for Jaipur takeaway. Hancock with a searching ball to Taylor, and a great setup provided by Tails. Bowler's hit firmly from the edge of the area, but still the keeper will be disappointed to be beaten at his near post like that. But Jaipur takeaway don't care one bit. They appear destined to leave Regis Fields empty-handed, but that goal from Michael Bowler has pulled this one out of the fire, and the points will surely be shared now. And the points were indeed shared, with a 2-2 draw the final result. But what late drama there at Regis Fields. The home side up in smoke seemed to have completed a remarkable comeback in the last 10 minutes, only to concede a late equaliser. But based on everything we saw in that fiercely contested match, a draw seemed a fair result for both teams. Up in Smoke FC and Jaipur Takeaway are now 3 league games without a win. In week 11, Jaipur Takeaway will host second place Pasta United, and Up in Smoke are at home to Hardley Athletic FC in a potential 6-pointer. Our final match of the day saw both of those teams face off at Pinewood Way. Hardley Athletic FC, who have only 1 win in their last 5 outings, played host to Pasta United, who are unbeaten in their last 4. The visitors, Pasta United, set up in a 1-3-1 formation, with the spindly figure of Colin Larrigan returning in goal, still in search of a first clean sheet of the season. In front of him, there was only one man for the job, and that man was Daniel Blunsdon. Pasta United's player-manager, Matthew Paish, may be suffering a crisis of confidence, as he chose to hand a second appearance of the season to James Scarpino, rather than play himself in midfield. So to midfield of Scarpino, Kramer and Lever. Tommy Lever, the obvious outstanding performer of that trio. He has 8 league goals registered to his name after 9 weeks of league play. And with 6 league goals to his name, Matthew D. White rounds off the lineup as a lone striker. Hardley Athletic FC mirrored their opponents in formation, and manager Craig Mace has made 3 changes in personnel from their loss in week 9 to King and Skippers. The Fat Boys captain, Matthew Saunders, continued in goal, and with Jordan Edwards suspended, Chuckle Brother number 1, Dean Norris, played as a lone defender. Norris suffered further disappointment, realising upon arrival at Pinewood Way that he had once again forgotten his playing kit. After delving into the beggar box, Norris was forced to wear a rather fetching orange Hawaiian shirt and a well-trodden pair of tracksuit bottoms. Manager Craig Mace chose to rest both Joe Pritchard and Daniel Hughes this week, and opted for a midfield threesome of David Harrison, Richie Beattie, and debutant Toby Bathe. With that pitiful midfield being fielded, even more responsibility would surely fall on the shoulders of Hardley Athletics star striker Daniel McCabe, who so far this season has only scored 4 league goals. Mark Flannel and Fred Fabernes were scheduled to be the commentators for this match, but they were bemused and befuddled by the winding lanes of rural North Wiltshire, and rather unfortunately found themselves in Bath Easton at kick-off time. So your stand-in commentators are once again Dave Mattingly and Gavin Gooseberry. It's a poor clearance from Harrison, and it's quickly retrieved by Kramer, who finds Lever out on the right side. A bit of trickery there from Lever, and he's past Bathe. And now the cross comes in. Norris gets to it for Hardley Athletic, ahead of Matthew D. White. But his clearance has only gone as far as Kramer of Pasta United, who manages to control the bouncing ball. And he lays it back to Blunsdon with a long-range effort. Oh, and it's just over the bar. A cleanly struck shot from Blunsdon from distance. It was lasered in the direction of the top right corner of Matthew Saunders' goal, who didn't get close to it. But it was always rising, and it cleared the crossbar by a couple of feet. Well, we've seen Blunsdon welly him in from that sort of distance before, but he's just missed the target on this occasion. Good sustained pressure and possession from Pasta United. Another healthy spell of possession for Pasta United here, as Blunsdon finds Lever, who controls neatly and plays it on to Kramer. It's a loose first touch from him, and Kramer almost gets away with it, but McCabe spotted the danger and wins it back for Hardley Athletic.
McCabe skips past the outstretched leg of Laver, and here's another McCabe run. He's going to worry them again. Now he beats Scarpino, and he's bearing down on Blunston. A drop of the shoulder, and he's past Blunston. It's a great run by Daniel McCabe, and he might finish it off. Oh, it's a wonderful goal! What an amazing moment! A fantastic run that frightened the Pasties, and a most unerring finish beyond Larrigan to make it 1-0 Hardley Athletic. A terrific moment.
Well, you just don't do this. He runs at people, the pace is frightening, but the finish is unbelievable.
He's frightened the life out of them there. He holds off the number 15 Scarpino. He swings past the number 4 Blunston, and then he's faced with Larrigan, and then he finds the corner of the nets.
Oh, it's a great run and a quality finish. Against the run of play, it must be said. Pasty United have more or less controlled the game in the first half, but they have been a little toothless in attack. They haven't created a lot of chances, and they've been punished here by McCabe, who only needs to sniff a goal, and the ball can end up in the back of the net.
That's a neat turn from Laver to evade the challenge of Harrison. Laver slips it to Kramer, who's closed down by Beattie, so he goes back to his centre-back Blunston. McCabe of Hardley Athletic is a little slow to pressure Blunston, who has time on the ball deep inside the Pasty United half. Neither Kramer or Scarpino look keen to offer Blunston a short option, and Laver's not in the business of putting in any non-essential steps, so Blunston is going to look long over the top for the run of Matthew D. White. White might get in behind Norris here, whose Hawaiian shirt flows out behind him as he tracks the Pasty United striker. White collects the pass, left of centre, outside the area, and he's able to check back onto his right foot. Saunders is coming off his line as White approaches the box, and White promptly places it into the bottom right corner of the goal to level the match. Oh, a fine finish there.
Yeah, Route 1 stuff for the Pasties, but when you got a centre-back with a range of passing that Blunston possesses, and a striker with the instincts of Matty D. White, the long ball is always a real threat. A pinpoint pass from Blunston, in behind, and a very composed finish from Matty White. We're back on level terms.
Well, it's a controversial issue that comes up every time these two teams meet, and it divides the Greater Corsham area. Where do you stand, Gavin? Pasties or pies?
Oh, Dave, it's a tricky one.
Pasties. No, pies. No, pasties. Traditional. Is that your final answer? Pasties? What about a nice steak and ale pie with gravy and mash?
Oh, you are a bastard, Dave. All right, I'll go with pies.
No, my nan would kill me.
I'll tell you what. I love stuff wrapped in pastry. Full stop. I want a pie, and a pasty, and a sausage roll. How about that, Dave?
Yes, fair enough, Gavin. Speaking of sausage rolls, here's Tommy Laver for Pasty United, just inside his own half. He wriggles away from the challenge of Bathe and finds Scarpino on the left side. Quickly moved on by Scarpino to Kramer. Centre field, inside the Hardley Athletic half now. Kramer is looking for options. Laver makes a run, or at least a brisk walk forward, but Kramer finds the front man Matthew D. White dropping deep. Oh, it's a delightful flick from White around the corner and into the path of Laver, who's continued his run, and he's past the last defender, Norris. Laver approaches the area, right of centre. Saunders comes quickly off his line, and Laver chips it over the outrushing Saunders, and it's in! A most delicate of finishes from the Pasties back controller. The visitors have turned this match around. Tommy Laver makes it Hardley Athletic 1, Pasty United 2.
Oh, it's a classy move from Pasty United. Some good passing play, a crafty flick from Matty White, and a lovely chip finish from the bigger boy Laver. And it's no less than they deserve. The Pasties have come out all guns blazing in this second half, and Hardley Athletic need to do something to stem the tide, because they're getting outplayed right now, especially in the midfield.
Blunston canters into the Hardley Athletic half as if he owns the place, and he passes to Tommy Laver on the right side, who has Beattie for company. Laver flicks the ball with the outside of his left foot into a pocket of space out on the right flank, and he goes chasing after it. Lovely play from Laver. White is jostling in the area with Norris, but Labour instead looks inside for Kramer, just outside the area on the right side. Kramer is under pressure from Harrison. Oh, but Harrison goes sidling through the back of Kramer. That's clearly a free kick. Referee Ian Holden blows for a free kick, and it's going to be a yellow card for Harrison. And that's the 5th yellow card of the match that the typically lenient Mr. Holden has doled out. More importantly, it's a free kick to Pastor United in a dangerous area, and Tommy Labour will be involved. A terrible challenge from Harrison. It's a wonder it's taken him until the 74th minute to get a yellow card, because he's been making clumsy tackles all day long. This one's put his team in a spot of bother, though, dealing with this free kick. Yes, everyone's coming back for Hardley Athletic, while defender Daniel Blunston has come up from the back for Pastor United. Lee Kramer drops deep to fill the void. And now the referee gives the go-ahead. It's Labour with a free kick, floating and curling it into the Hardley Athletic area. And it's Blunston with the header! Powered past a stationary Saunders. Blunston rose way above the crowd to make the ball his. And he's given Pastor United some breathing room here at Pinewood Way. Yes, great service from Labour, curled into the danger zone, and Blunston was towering above Norris and Beattie, and he's directed his header beautifully. Pastor United have been excellent in this second half, and Hardley Athletic have run out of steam. They've relied so heavily on McCabe today, and they've been very fragile defensively. Yes, the cream has taken some time to rise to the top today, but as you say, Gavin, it's been a much improved second half from Pastor United, and that goal from Blunston has made it 3-1 to the visitors.
And that was how things finished at Pinewood Way. After a sluggish start from the visitors, Pastor United turned the heat up in the second half, and the match ended up being a rather routine away victory. And Hardley Athletic perhaps couldn't have hoped for much more, as they fielded somewhat of a second-string 6 against the title-chasing Pasties. And that concludes the match action for Week 10 of the Just time to check how proceedings affected the league table. Bence's Lane Bastards saw their lead at the top of the table shaved to a single point after they were humiliated at the Brownabout by Dave Brown's boys. And Pastor United's win against Hardley Athletic meant they remain in second position, with Dave Brown's boys 2 points behind them in third. With 4 matches remaining in the league, it's looking more and more like a 3-horse title race, which could hardly be more finely poised at this stage of the season. Box Badgers and Jaipur Takeaway will both be disappointed to have only come away with draws from their respective fixtures, and, barring a catastrophic loss of form from the top 3, they may have to accept that their chances of league glory have all but faded away. Up in Smoke FC's draw against Jaipur Takeaway kept them in 6th place, whilst King and Skippers leapfrogged Hardley Athletic FC to climb to 7th place after a dogged performance against Box Badgers. And Hardley Athletic fall to the foot of the table after suffering a league-high 7th loss of the season to Pastor United. And that's all we have time for this week. Thank you for joining us for another explosive installment of the beautiful game brought to you by the CCSFF. From me, Philip Flanschmeer, I bid you farewell until next time.